Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Echo Knight. In the last part, we saved a few more souls, as well as got rid of our first major enemy ghost in the process, Claudia. And now we're in this bedroom, which we are in for one very specific reason. This fancy bed! And namely, the suit that is on top of that, because we need that in order to progress into another area. Let's get on over there. Oh, hello! How are you doing? Oh, dicks! Did someone get the license plate number on that shoe? Ugh. Welcome back to the realm of consciousness, and the game is actually a little bit cruel in one regard here. You actually do get knocked down, more or less, to 1 HP from that, so make sure you have a curing potion on hand after that. You likely will as was, and there's one or two in this very room anyway, but still, good to heal up as soon as you can. Also, this is where one of the more awkward parts of the game's controls becomes very obvious. When you're picking something up, you still have to move in 3D space relative to it, and you can only move it by backing up and then rotating, and that can get a little bit iffy. Still, welcome to the doctor's office. As you can see, there's a ghost in here we'll be talking to in a moment. I just want to investigate everything else first, and this is the first time in the game that you really need to take note of the game's in-game clock system, because the office's hours are from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., or 1700 if you're in any kind of military or 24-hour clock area. Currently in-game, it is just after... actually, 00 p.m., what the hell? I think that means it's afternoon? That was weirdly written.
I don't know. What poison? I don't know anything. So, William, I don't know anything. I don't know anything about poison, Sir William.
Well, you're clearly having some problems, so I'll just leave you be for now.
No. Please. Don't open that door.
It's weird that I hear that and think that's just a more serious delivery of that one Resident Evil line. I don't like that. I know I'm signing up for that, but really, just a little bit of atmospheric sound at least. Like, the silence is admittedly unnerving for a horror game, but I feel like it just needs something else. Hi there. Who are you? How did you get in here? You're interfering with my work. Get out of here. You're still here? Stop loitering and get out of here. But there's stuff to see and find. Hey, don't touch anything. I mean, fair enough, it's a top-secret laboratory. I get it. What's in here? Don't touch that! I'm busy. Get out of here. Don't have to shove this hard, man. I could just point and I'll leave, sadly. I mean, come on, I'm reasonable. Get out and stay out. So clearly, there's something in here that we probably want that he doesn't want us to have. With that said, while the nurse's ghost is, or the doctor's ghost is in here, we can't do anything. So we need to wait for office hours to end. Thankfully, I think they almost always make it so that when you leave that projection, the timer, at least in the first go around, is close to the ending time of the hours.
It's time.
So you never have to wait too terribly long in my experience. With that said, we still can't leave because the door is locked. But since he's left the office in the current timeline, that means, by some stretch of fictional logic, the past version of him has also left because it's after the end of his office's hours. This is a cool puzzle But it's also one of the 2 or 3 times period, as I mentioned, I think last part, that the game ever uses the in-game clock system for anything. There's one puzzle later on where you need to be a place near midnight, and there's one other room that has active hours that unless you do a certain thing by the time you reach the end of it, will just be kicked out of. We got a prescription here. Let's pick that up. And that's the item we oh so very much need right now. Before we hand that off to the doctor, whose name escapes me because basically every NPC's name in this game escapes me, let's finally take a look at the notes we've gathered thus far and read what we've gathered already. Prescription. Found in the laboratory, there's a picture. I wonder if this is a medical prescription. There's instructions followed by a list of drugs. Explicit permission. Any transportation of these drugs is prohibited under normal circumstances. However, we will give explicit permission only to Sir William Rockwell. The logging of any of these drugs in the inventory is also prohibited. Thomas Gusset. Interesting. And also, these are the other notes we've gathered thus far. This is, I think, the last time I look into this, and except for maybe right at the end of the game, just to show how many pages you get by the end. First off, we got the comic book. To every soul, to wandering souls, I am waiting where the stars live. To those that challenge fate, to those whose fate is lost, I am waiting where the stars live beyond the sun. The one who held the comet to the sun, I am waiting. I am waiting. So that's how you're supposed to know to hold the comic book to the sun place in order to access the mysterious man's room. Then finally, the red book we got way back at the start of the game. 38 years have passed since the day I fought William with the aid of the Blue Stone. My fate has changed drastically ever since William showed up. My father, my mother, everything I cared for was taken from me by that knife. I tried to forget it all when the ship disappeared. I really wanted to believe that the Red Stone, that girl, and everything had vanished with the Orpheus. My vengeful wish has been fulfilled. I wanted to believe that. But my fate had much more in store. That voice beckoned me. Now is the time. I must put an end to this all. There's no need to return here. I must go. To the ship in the endless sea. There's a newspaper clip pasted onto the last page. It dates back 23 years ago. Anchor City Journal, April 12th, 1914. Orpheus case unsolved. The search was finally ended. A year ago, the passenger liner Orpheus mysteriously disappeared while sailing the Atlantic Ocean. According to the investigators' final report, the Orpheus sunk due to a sudden tempest. However, the search did not find any evidence that could prove this fact and has concluded this case to be unsolved. Yeah, reading that back when probably would have been more prevalent, but oh well. Let's just give that prescription back to William, I guess his name is.
That's Sir William's. Oh!
I can't help but be reminded of a certain vine that might start with the word I love you. Uncomfy. Oh, hi there! How are you doing this fine day? Alright, now I'm always a little bit vague on this part of the game and how they want you to go in terms of the order of operations, because I think you need to visit every room in this area to be able to turn on the lights in that previous room from a not so obvious light switch, because the main light switch there doesn't work at all. I think you also need to turn on the lights in all the surrounding rooms, which probably helps with that. Also, in the case you need to, there is a sun plate here if you want to go trade in any astral pieces you might still have with the mysterious man. With that, welcome to the theater. Let's see if anyone's up in the projection room. Hello? Is anyone up here? Oh, hey, there you are.
He should be here by now. I wonder when that boy's coming. He promised to show that film. I wonder where he is.
Well, bad news. If he's anything like you, he's not in good shape. Now, the important thing to grab in here is on a bookshelf right here that's actually pretty easy to miss, there's an old record. We are going to need this in order to solve another ghost's trouble. I cannot imagine watching a movie on a ship. Mind you, I don't like boats to begin with. I get very easily motion sick and seasickness especially. The only time I've been on a boat where I didn't get seasick was this one time we went on like a cruise around Boston Harbor. with my middle school class when we were about to enter high school. And this was like a school sanctioned thing, so they did this every year. Relatively cheap because the amount of people, and well, my school system used money improperly, sometimes in ways I don't like to admit.
It was inevitable. Sir William, he is a dangerous man. I killed Sir Arthur.
Although I say that, but
was
now that I think about it, I
so
think that cruise may have been funded by the donations of those who were going on it. So like every student in the school, in the class, needed to give such amount of money. No, actually, no, I think that's completely what we did. Either way, the docs clearly having problems, guilt over potentially killing Sir Arthur, so we're going to need to find some way to fix that. There's actually not much important in that room beyond his potential astral piece. The big thing is to get a claim ticket in there because those will come in handy very soon. That there is a super well hidden light switch, by the way, and this one just won't work. I'm super in the vague about what order of operations you need to do in order to make that light switch near the theater actually work.
He's not here. Where did he go? Where did my son go?
That potential voice is like the closest any of the voices in this game get to a proper "ooh, ghost." And I can't tell if it's just because the direction is relatively tame in this game or what. Mind you, from what I'm aware, I don't think this game has that big of a voice acting cast. I think it's like 6 people doing all the voices. And hey, they got some impressive range in there. Also, that ghost lady is almost never a threat. So yeah, like now that all these lights are on, we can press this, turn on the lights in this room, and get rid of the new major enemy ghost, the older lady. That also causes this guy to be visible. Don't step on that, that'll hurt.
I saw it. Grandpa William stabbed Mr. Arthur. Mother, I'm scared. Where are you? I can't hear Mother's song. I can't hear.
A lot of talk of William Rockwell again. He's the guy we saw back in the train in the flashback in part 1. I mean, 23 years, he looked old then, but stands to reason he could still be alive. And if he killed all these people, Jesus Christ, that's horrible. Either way, the kid's missing his mother's song, there's a phonograph here, and we have a record. I think you can easily put 2 and 2 together. Oh, that's cute. And for some reason, every time I see that scene, it just reminds me, partially in music, partially in tone, of the Cafe Andrew reuniting scene from Majora's Mask, if you do that entire side quest. The important thing there, we not only got their astral pieces, we also got a crown-shaped piece, which is the key for this box with an odd-looking hole in it. This will allow us to get the 2 major items we need to progress next. In very different ways. We have the film reel, which I think you can figure out what we have to do with that. But we also get the gear, which is one of the few items in the game we actually use more than once. We'll be using that in a few moments, though. Also, the Alice in Wonderland decor of that room I find intensely creepy for some reason. I don't know why. I almost find it creepier than some of the actual ghosts. Because the ghosts in this game aren't too scary, it's more so how suddenly they can show up, and admittedly, the musical sting that shows up, plays when they show up. Again, this game doesn't have much music. What's there is good, and they use it well. I just wish there was more ambiance music, even if it's just like a distant, super faded, like jazz clubby kind of sound for certain floors. Oh, you know what will be a good balance, actually? If you clear an area of ghosts and then a jazzy theme kicks in to show that you've restored that area to peace.
The film. Oh. The boy has died. This, then, will be the last show. as I've promised.
One thing I do like about Echo Knight 1 compared to Echo Knight 2, which gameplay-wise is damn near identical even compared to the third game, because the third game makes some weird changes, is that Echo Knight 1's characters, by that I mean the ghosts, are all connected in some way just because they were all passengers on the ship. Whereas in the second game, due to their more focus on a more kinetic linear storyline, definitely loses that kind of touch. And I even think Nitro Rad touched on that in his review of both games. I think both games are valid in how they approach things. It's very much just a taste thing for what you prefer. I personally prefer the more linear story of the second game. Comic Sans!
It's not the poison? That knife. The red knife. Sir William's. Sir Arthur was with that knife, not the poison. It wasn't my fault.
Good on you. And there's that damn glowing red knife again. We saw that also back in part 1. Wonder what that's all about. The important thing is, though, the Doctor also drops the cabinet key upon his moving on. And we need to use that back in his office in order to get another key item. In a way, this game is like super focused Resident Evil key hunts taken to a logical extreme in certain cases, and I don't think there's a problem with that. But it does stand out upon replays or even watching in video format, honestly. This is a game I feel, at the end of the day, is better to play than to watch, unless you're watching it for a walkthrough or other people's thoughts. And there are a lot of games like that out there. Like, honestly, basically every racing and fighting game falls into that in my eyes, because there's just not much to talk about past a certain point. Unless it's a race and fighting mini-game in a larger game, kind of like Yakuza 5, which I'm currently playing, or doing the Platinum Trophy for at least, having the Initial D-styled racing mini-game alongside some other things. But we got the antidote from that cabinet, and that allows us to get rid of this green goop left behind by the Lady Ghost. Unfortunately, I think you only get one of that, so any other instances of the green goop you see, you can't get rid of. But with that, I went back into the doctor's office to save, by the way. I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 5, we're mostly done with this section of the ship, but people who've played this game before know there's technically 3 more astral pieces to get, and you can wait to get them, but I'm going to get them now. We're going gambling, people. See you guys then.